There are 11 hygiene habits standard in Japan that almost no American household practices, and the gap between them is the entire reason you can shower every single day and still not actually smell clean by mid-afternoon. This isn't about effort. You are not lazy and you are not dirty. You've simply been taught a version of clean that treats the surface of the problem and never touches the source. Most people reading this list will recognize themselves in at least 6 of the 11. Rule 4 is the one that quietly ruins every other rule on this list if you skip it, because it undoes the work all the others do. Rule 9 involves an object you are wearing right now, and you have never once checked it the way you're about to. And the last one isn't really about hygiene at all. It's about a smell you have never once smelled on yourself, and somebody close to you has been quietly adjusting to it for longer than you'd guess. Here's the idea running underneath every single one of these. In Japan, the goal was never to smell like something. It was to not smell like anything at all. Clean red as absence, not as fragrance layered over a problem. Almost everything in an American bathroom is built the opposite way, designed to cover rather than remove. Once you see that difference, you'll see it in every single item on this list. Rule 1 is about the order you wash in, and it's probably backwards from what you're doing right now. In a Japanese bath routine, you rinse and scrub completely outside the tub first, every inch, hair included, and only get into the water once you're already clean. The bath itself isn't for washing, it's for soaking after the work is done. In a Western shower, washing and rinsing happen in the same few minutes, standing in your own runoff the entire time, often with shampoo running down your back last, right before you step out and get dressed on top of it. Flip it. Hair first, all the way rinsed out, body after, and finish with 30 seconds of plain water down your back, with your head tilted forward before you turn the water off. It costs nothing and takes no extra time. It just changes what's still on your skin the moment you towel off. Rule 2 is about when that whole routine happens, and the timing matters more than people assume. In Japan, the bath is the last thing before bed, not the first thing after waking up. The entire day gets washed off before it ever touches your sheets. In most American homes, showering happens in the morning, which means everything from that day, sweat, city air, whatever you brushed against on a crowded train or a packed sidewalk, goes straight into bed with you and sits against your skin and your sheets for 8 hours straight. Move your shower to the evening for 1 week. Keep a quick morning rinse if you want one. It's the evening wash that changes what your pillow and sheets actually smell like by day 3, not the morning one. Rule 3 is about the object you're actually scrubbing with, and there's a real chance yours has never been fully dry since the day you bought it. The standard tool in a Japanese bathroom is a long, thin, woven cloth, nylon or cotton, that lathers fast, reaches your whole back without help, and hangs completely flat so it dries within an hour. The standard tool in an American shower is a round mesh puff that lives permanently bunched up in the wettest corner of the shower, which is precisely the shape and environment that traps water, dead skin, and soap film without ever fully airing out between uses. Try to remember when you bought yours. Most people can't because nothing about it ever looked different enough to prompt replacing it. Throw it out. A flat cloth that actually dries is a $5 fix for a problem you've been rinsing with for years. Rule 4 is the one I mentioned at the start, the one that quietly cancels out everything else on this list if you get it wrong. It's about when antiperspirant actually goes on. Applying it to damp skin right after a morning shower, which is standard in most American bathrooms, means it's going on while your pores are still open and your skin is still slightly wet, and it washes out within the first hour of sweating, well before it's had time to actually work. Antiperspirant needs dry, still skin to form the barrier it's designed to form. In Japan, the far more common approach is a wet cleansing sheet, used to physically remove sweat and bacteria from the skin during the day, with antiperspirant, when used, applied at night to fully dry skin that has hours to sit undisturbed before you ever start sweating again. Apply it before bed instead of after your morning shower. Carry a cleansing wipe for the middle of the day instead of layering more product over what's already there. You've been treating your skin correctly and undoing it with bad timing. Rule 5 is about your feet, and there's a specific spot on them you've probably never actually washed on purpose. Standing under running water and letting it flow between your toes is not the same as washing between your toes. Most people never touch that space directly with soap and a hand. In Japan, washing between each toe individually is a standard, explicit step, not an assumption that water passing by will handle it. That gap between your toes stays warm, damp, and sealed inside a sock and a shoe for most of your waking day. A combination almost no other part of your body experiences. Tonight, actually wash between each toe with your hand, then dry each gap individually with a towel before you put socks on. It takes 15 seconds, and it's a step almost nobody has ever been explicitly taught to take. Rule 6 follows straight from Rule 5 because clean feet going into the same damp shoes every day were never going to solve anything on their own. Shoes worn daily never fully dry between wears. They need roughly a full day of rest to release the moisture they absorb, and most people own exactly one everyday pair and wear it every single day without a break. In Japan, rotating between at least 2 pairs and storing them with a charcoal or cedar insert to actively pull moisture out is standard practice, not an upgrade reserved for people who care unusually much about their shoes. Own a second pair for rotation. Let each pair rest a full day before wearing it again. The compound responsible for foot odor is produced by bacteria that thrive specifically in warm, damp, unrested shoes. Rotation alone removes the exact environment they need. Rule 7 is about the fabric sitting directly against your skin for most of the day, and it might be working against every other rule on this list. Synthetic fabric, most gym wear, a lot of everyday athleisure, bonds with skin oil at a molecular level in a way natural fiber doesn't, which is why a synthetic shirt can start smelling within minutes of getting warm, no matter how recently it was washed, and why no normal wash cycle fully clears that bonded oil back out. In Japan, the layer of clothing closest to skin is treated as its own separate category from outerwear, almost always cotton, linen, or a similarly natural fiber specifically because of this. Check what's actually touching your skin under your outer layer right now. If it's synthetic, that's not a hygiene failure. It's a fabric doing exactly what that fabric does. Swap the base layer, not the whole wardrobe, and the smell problem in that specific piece of clothing changes almost immediately. Rule 8 is about your hair, and the timing question here is the same one from Rule 2, just applied somewhere you'd never think to apply it. Washing hair at night, then drying it fully before sleep, means you go to bed with a clean scalp and wake up with the oil that's naturally accumulated overnight sitting for a much shorter window before your next wash. Washing in the morning and going straight into a full day means that same natural oil has an entire day uninterrupted to build up against a pillow that then holds onto it. Night washing is the far more common default in Japan for exactly this reason. Try night washing for a week, making sure your hair is genuinely dry before you sleep, not just towel damp. Compare how your pillow smells by day 4 against how it usually smells on your current routine. Rule 9 is the object I told you to check, something you're wearing right now, probably without having checked it in longer than you'd guess. Your pillowcase. It sits directly against your face and scalp for roughly a third of every day, absorbing oil, sweat, and skin cells the entire time. And it gets changed on whatever schedule your sheets get changed on, which for most people is every 1 to 2 weeks. In Japan, the pillowcase specifically, separate from the rest of the bedding, is commonly changed every 2 to 3 days, precisely because it's the single point of most direct, sustained skin contact in your entire home. Go check yours right now. If you can't remember the last time it was changed, that's the answer. Change just the pillowcase twice a week, even if the rest of your sheets stay on their normal schedule. Rule 10 is about your mouth after you eat, not before. Brushing happens once or twice a day in most American routines, and nothing happens in between meals except whatever mints or gum get reached for as an afterthought. In Japan, rinsing the mouth with plain water immediately after eating, especially after anything strong-smelling, is a normal, unremarkable habit, done specifically because food particles are far easier to flush out in the first few minutes than to fully remove hours later, once bacteria have already started breaking them down. Rinse with water after your next meal, today, before you do anything else. Not mouthwash, plain water, right after eating every time. It's a completely different mechanism than brushing, and it closes a gap brushing alone was never built to close. Now, before the last one, here's a fact that reframes everything on this list, and it's not really a rule at all. Your ability to smell any constant, unchanging odor, including your own, drops off within minutes of exposure and never fully comes back while the exposure continues. This is exactly why every fix on this list has to be a repeated habit rather than a single deep clean. You will never personally verify whether any of these 10 rules actually worked, because you're the one person biologically incapable of smelling the difference on yourself. The only real feedback you'll ever get has to come from somebody else, which is precisely where the 11th one lives. Rule 11 isn't a habit, it's the reason the other 10 exist in the first place. And it's the part of this video you might not want to hear.
There is a specific compound your skin begins producing in noticeably higher amounts starting around your 40s, concentrated in spots you cannot physically reach with your own nose. The back of your neck, behind your ears, your upper back. Ordinary soap does not fully remove it. You can shower daily for the rest of your life and still carry it, because the problem was never how often you washed. It's that it accumulates specifically in the places your own senses have no access to. In Japan, there's a specific word for this, an aging-related odor, identified by name decades ago, taken seriously enough to have its own dedicated soap category built around persimmon tannin, specifically marketed to treat it. There is no equivalent aisle in an American drugstore, not because the compound doesn't exist here too, but because nobody ever gave it a name worth putting on a label. Here's the part that actually matters. Somebody close to you, a partner, a coworker who sits near you, a friend who hugs you hello, has almost certainly adjusted to this without ever mentioning it, the same way you've adjusted to smells in your own home you can no longer detect. Not because they don't care, because telling you felt smaller and kinder than the alternative, and because there was never a comfortable moment to bring it up. That's not a failure on your part. It's simply the one true blind spot nobody escapes, because it lives in the one place none of us were ever built to check. Use a soap built specifically for this, persimmon tannin or a similar targeted formula, on your neck, behind your ears, and your upper back deliberately, not just wherever the water happens to run. Wash the areas you can't see and can't smell with the same care you give the areas you can, precisely because those are the ones nobody has ever told you about. So here's what to actually do tonight. Not the whole list, one thing. Move your shower to the evening, or fix the antiperspirant timing, or wash between your toes probably for the first time in years. Pick the one that made you slightly uncomfortable reading it, because that discomfort is usually pointing at the exact thing worth fixing first. Tell me in the comments which of these 11 you're trying tonight, and if you're brave enough, ask someone close to you the honest version of the question this video just asked you. What do they actually notice that you can't? The answer might be more useful than anything on this list. I'll see you in the next one.